As I work with customers at Amalgam, I'm also often doing demos and illustrations where users see me use the XLOOKUP and they're often intrigued. And a lot of us are familiar with the VLOOKUP or the HLOOKUP even, but those are a little bit more antiquated. And so I figured I'd just make a video to illustrate how to really use the XLOOKUP in a fluid manner. So I've got a template here that I'm building for Amalgam, and what it's going to do is I have a dashboard tab where I want to pull in any of the transactions that are over a certain threshold. So in this case, I want to say anything over $5,000, I want to pull into this table here. And so the traditional way was like, if I want to look up the vendor, I could use the VLOOKUP. I'll look VLOOKUP, and what do I want to look up? I want to look up the number 1. And so I've created a formula in my raw data space that has a numeric kind of flagging. So we'll look up the number 1 in column C. And then the second thing I need to do is, okay, well, what's my table I'm looking it up against? Great, here's that number 1. I want to ultimately return this number Mattingly Insurance because it's $5,800. It's over the threshold. So I'll select this set of fields, go all the way to Mattingly, which we can see is the 15th column, and then I will hit comma and select the column number 15, and then I also say false because I want an exact match. So I do that, and there we go. We've got our Mattingly Insurance, and then I can use this to go and populate the rest of it. Okay, amount, and then I can select this. Obviously, it's pulling in Mattingly Insurance, but what field is the amount? So if this was number 15, 16, 17, so 18, 19, so I'll have to extend that out. Let's just make this, let's say Z, and then I'll want that to be number 19. There we go. So our amount is coming through now. Great. Cool. I can go and populate the table this way. Where I get a couple pieces of friction, one is if that field I want is to the left of the column that I flagged. So in this instance, if I want to look up the date, I'll do my VLOOKUP. I will select cell number 1. And then if I come into here, whoops, just lost it. I'll select that, comma. And then here, you can see my date field is column F. If I go over to the right, or at least my formatted date, if I go to the right, I won't find it. This is not the field I want. I don't want column P, I want column F. So I can't actually pull it in, so it creates an issue for me. So enter the XLOOKUP, which is going to be a lot more fluid for us, and I think it's just an overall simpler formula. So we go here, XLOOKUP. Again, I'll select column C. Let me lock that for us, or at least lock it on column C. My comma. Okay, what column am I looking that up? I'm looking it up over column G. And then what do I want it to return? I want it to return column U. And then I can lock that just like that. There we go, splendid splinters. And then same thing, PEO is right there. Let's say I want to lock column G because that's not going to change. So I've got C locked, G locked, and then I can kind of go from there. So I wanted to do column F, right? That was my date, so I can do that. There we go, there's our date. I can start populating that pretty easily, and then this was column Y if I remember, so I can do that. I can do Y. And we can sort of start populating our field this way. So you can just populate the whole thing with the XLOOKUP, which I think is just a little bit more fluid. So yeah, that's kind of just a rundown of the XLOOKUP. I think it's a bit cleaner, a little bit more versatile. Definitely helps if you're moving things to the left. You don't have to count columns and make sure you know all that kind of stuff. You can just say, hey, what am I looking up? What column is it found? And then what column is it is the resulting that I want to return? And then same thing goes if you're using for rows. So the HLOOKUP would be the equivalent for doing rows. In this instance, you can use the XLOOKUP just the same. You can say row 1 is where I want to find my value, and then you can pull in the result. So that's a quick crash course on the XLOOKUP for you.